Check out this Overwatch game played between the Atlanta Reign and the San Francisco Shock. Pause. Notice anything? Check out their team comp. Still nothing? How about this random contenders game I found? No? Fine, I'll tell you. These teams are all demonstrating what's called role theory. Role theory is basically the idea that there are actually multiple roles within each role in Overwatch. While there is 1 tank, 2 DPS, and 2 support characters per team, there are actually 5 different types of characters that should all be played in order to have a functional team comp. This mostly comes down to what's often called main heroes and flex heroes. Which heroes are which, I'll get into later. The general rule is that you should have 1 main character and 1 flex character in each role. The reason for this is that these characters complement each other and fill in the gaps. For example, a Sojourn and a Soldier 76 do very similar jobs, and both are considered main DPS, so it would be better to replace one with a character such as Genji or Echo that can accomplish what the main DPS cannot. Having 2 main DPS is very common to see in ranked, but leads to problems with breaking holds since it's the flex DPS that have the abilities to split the enemy attention or force an opening. First, let's briefly mention tanks. Since there is only 1 tank now in the game, there's not much point discussing them. Even though some tanks can play very differently, because there's only 1, it's difficult to categorize them. As a general rule, you can play most tanks with most other combos, but the correct tank pick is going to depend on the rest of your team and isn't a main part of role theory. The tank analysis is beyond the scope of this video, so let's move on to DPS. In role theory, the main DPS on a team is the hero that can provide a consistent amount of pressure to the enemy team, and are good for holding space and limiting the enemy's options. Main DPS heroes are typically those with hit scan weapons or close to it, and rely mostly on their weapons for high damage output as opposed to abilities. Flex DPS heroes, on the other hand, are typically those with projectiles, and rely on abilities for explosive damage and utility. One of the important jobs of the Flex DPS is to split the enemy's attention. Think Pharah or Sombra, who force the enemy team to deal with them away from the rest of their team. This can allow for an opening for your team to take space. This can also help the attacking team to create an opening to get kills with explosive utility, which can be ultimates like Genji Blade, or even just the option to kill someone quickly, with Junkrat's primary fire and concussion lines. There's also a list of exceptions to the main flex and DPS categories. You'll notice the exceptions list is quite long. These are heroes that might not fit well into either category, mostly because of their playstyle. These heroes are highly specialized and can break the general rule of having 1 flex and 1 main DPS. Tracer in particular is unique because she can play in many different ways and fill the role of either a flex or main DPS. The exceptions are more reliant on the enemy team comps and the map than the other DPS, with the further exception of Tracer, who can play with nearly any other damage hero on nearly any map. Here's the full list of DPS categories. The support category is going to be slightly confusing to some, so I'm going to clarify here. A main support and a flex support are not the same thing as a main healer and flex healer. You probably have heard the term main healer to refer to supports with high healing, such as Ana and Baptiste. Forget about this now, the term main healer is not relevant to this topic. Supports are supports, not healers. With that said, main supports are supports whose method of healing is automatic. This allows them to play however it is they play, and they'll probably end up healing other people anyway. Flex supports are supports whose method of healing relies heavily on aim. They are usually able to heal more than the main supports, but also have to spend more time focusing on healing than other aspects of the game. The reason having a flex support and a main support has often been considered good is because the flex support can focus on healing the team, and the main support can play the game normally, but also happen to heal the flex support passively and keep them alive without much extra work. Double main support comps do not work, but double flex supports can absolutely work. The reason double flex supports can work is because of the support passive in Overwatch 2. Since supports can heal themselves passively now, they don't need automatic healing from their other support anymore. It's important to note that not all flex and main support combos work. Notably, Zenyatta and Lucio together is unviable. Let's go back to our pro game between the Atlanta Reign and the San Francisco Shock. Now you can see that both teams have 1 main and 1 flex hero for both the damage and support categories. While role theory isn't a guarantee to win games, it is a useful thing to be aware of and can take a team to the next level. Here is a complete chart of every hero in their category as of Season 6. This video is based on a video from Crow, but I don't think he explains some things well enough, so that's why I made this one. If you found it helpful, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos.